Salvete! At long last, after having finished my previous Let's Play, I feel the need to introduce my idea for the next grand series of campaigns that I'm going to call Rome Through Time. This lengthy series will start with Total War Rome 2 and end with Total War Medieval 2, following Roman factions chronologically the entire way. Now, even though Rome 2 and Attila revolve around the Romans, I have never extensively played as any Roman faction. Instead, I have favored those northern barbarians. Why not? They are my ancestors after all. I felt their call to retrace their efforts to resist and eventually conquer various parts of the Roman Empire. So why in the world would I want to do this series? Because it's high time to address the irony of never leading the Romans to victory in games that revolve around them. Roman civilization has always been of interest to me. Along with the ancient Greeks, the Romans left a significant impact on Western culture that is relevant even today. Ultimately, they command respect, whether they are seen as models for civilization or as staunch imperial enemies. It will also be fun to document my playthroughs as Rome, and to do so chronologically will just be another tweak that will add to my entertainment. Gameplay-wise, it's going to be a relatively new experience. As I mentioned, I have not really extensively played as these factions. I dabbled a little bit here and there with Rome in Rome 2. I did play the original Rome Total War, and I did play as the Romans then, but that was mainly just to unlock the barbarian factions. So it'll be fun to play as them. It'll be relatively new going through them as well. It's also going to be fun going through some of the newish DLCs that I have acquired. I am a frugal shopper, and I don't have any problems with being a little behind, even if that means I am several years behind. I don't have a problem with it. So I think it would be entertaining to document me playing relatively unfamiliar factions in terms of their mechanics, and potentially struggle through new, to me, DLCs. I do plan on getting a little familiar with these newish DLCs, these DLCs being specifically the Rise of the Republic and Empire Divided. Those are recently acquired on my end, and I haven't really dabbled with them much. So I do want to kind of play with them just a little bit, just a handful of terms, just to get a feel for how it works before I jump head on into it. So on that note, I will appreciate any assistance that you can provide to me to help me guide Rome to her pinnacle. Now, I have compiled a list of which factions I would like to play as in these campaigns, starting with Rise of the Republic with a start date in 399 BC. Following that will be the Grand Campaign with a start date in 272 BC. And I'm planning on playing as the House of Julia, since there are multiple options. Next is Hannibal at the Gate, start date of 218 BC. Following that will be Caesar in Gaul, start date of 58 BC. Then Imperator Augustus, start date of 41 BC. Empire Divided comes next, with a start date of 270 AD. So quite the jump there. Then we jump games. Then we jump into a Total War Attila, with the Grand Campaign starting at 395 AD. Here I am planning on playing as the Western Roman Empire. Following that will be the last Roman DLC with a start date of 533 AD. Next will be Age of Charlemagne with a start date of 768 AD, playing as the theme of Sicily, because I will be using a mod that unlocks this faction. Then we jump games again into Total War Medieval 2, with the Grand Campaign starting in 1080 AD, and I'll be playing as the Byzantine Empire. Last but not least, we have the Crusades expansion to Medieval 2 with a start date of 1174 AD, playing as the Byzantine Empire. This list is not set in concrete, as I want to leave some flexibility for expanding interest in who I want to lead as those campaigns get closer to realization. Now, some of these campaigns will have more than one Roman faction that I can pick from. Personally, I am leaning towards the historical route, meaning that I'm planning on playing as the Julia family and as Octavian, and not Marcus Antonius, just because they won historically, so I'm planning on playing as them, but I'm willing to deviate some. For instance, in the last Roman campaign, I am planning on declaring independence from the Eastern Roman Empire. So I am willing to deviate from history. I don't need to stick to that too strictly. And with that said, as I progress through this series, I may feel inclined to usurp the purple as, say, Gallic Rome. It could be based on my own desires, or if folks make a good case in the comments playing for another faction. So I'm open to changing my mind as we progress. Even the order is not completely set in stone. It could be fun to play through the DLCs with a more narrow scope first and then hit the larger scale ones. So for instance, playing Rise of the Republic and then going to Hannibal at the Gate and Caesar in Gaul, pushing the grand campaign back until after Caesar in Gaul. But personally, I'm leaning towards the chronological start date order since that is the original idea and it can help break up those naturally longer campaigns. But feel free to give your input if you think that the campaign order should be different in any way, or if I should play as a different Roman faction, so feel free to contribute there. Each of these campaigns will have their own playlists and be in the Rome Through Time playlist as well. Those that are interested in the individual campaigns can find the standalone playlists, and for those that are interested in watching Rome move through each era can find it all in one place. I think it will be fun to create a playlist with start dates spanning over 1,500 years, but I also recognize that a massive playlist won't be for everyone. I imagine I will take breaks between some of these campaigns, or maybe run 2 at a time, if I can make it work well, and if I can find the extra time in my day, because this is going to be a lot of Roman action, and I am confident that I will feel the call of my ancestors to stretch my barbaric legs now and again. To add to the struggles that I'm going to force upon myself, I will be coming across quite a bit of Latin, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce all of that. So any tips in pronunciation, grammar, or if you have any good sources, any of those contributions will be greatly appreciated. This essentially extends into any language that I happen to butcher in my time talking into the microphone, but Latin will be a prevalent presence in this series, and it will help fill the void in my ignorant quasi-historian's heart. I'm very much looking forward to this massive endeavor. It will be a fun challenge to run through all of the campaigns as a faction that I have yet to lead to victory. The historian in me will also get a kick out of doing a chronological playthrough of these games, something that I have yet to do. I hope that you will find as much entertainment in this series as I do, and I will look for you on the battlefield.